Welcome back to Hong Kong Direct. Alan Aitken's still with me. We'll be previewing one of the big races on Sunday very shortly. But some of the big names here in Hong Kong have been out in early track work and trials, getting set for their seasonal returns as we take you up to the trial file, starting off with Beat the Clock.
Proactive coming around the turn at the 450. He's about to straighten for the run home. He's got the champ Beat the Clock breathing down his neck, and he pulls to the middle of the track now on the Beat the Clock does Morera. Followed in turn by Island winner Gurdon Helmet, following the rail Cheeky B and Nash shook last. Down to the 200, Beat the Clock and Highly Proactive. They've been at the tip of the arrow throughout. Beat the Clock just getting the measure now, maybe of Highly Proactive, who's looking to fight on. Then came Island winner down towards the line, and Highly Proactive going away at the line. Not a bad trial in the end. He's beaten home in photos, Beat the Clock and Island winner.
He felt great. He felt obviously a little bit fat for have had a break. We wouldn't think he was not in that position at the moment. So I was happy with him, and I think he should improve and progress from this trial.
All right, that was Joe. I'll get your thoughts on Beat the Clock in a second, Alan, but some of his stablemates and some of the other big-name sprinters from last season as well were back at the trials. Hot King Prawn, we can see him here out in front, the grey, and he's tracked in this trial by DB Pin, who's a Group 1 winner himself. Hot King Prawn started off last year in great heart, winning the National Day Cup and then backing up in the Premier Bowl, but then he had a problem. He had some colic last season. How do you think he's looking now?
Yeah, and I think it's a classic John Sires that he's so patient with these horses. In recent years, we've seen DB Pin with problems and given a break. We've seen Hot King Prawn with problems, given a proper break, and I Victory, who we're going to see in a minute. They all do seem to come back to form after he gives them these long breaks, and that was as much as they wanted him to do, and he did it well there, Hot King Prawn.
Yeah, and DB Pin's had some leg problems in the past, but so they've been very patient with him. Now, the horse we're mainly focusing on here is I Victory, because he was a champion sprinter himself from 2 seasons ago now, but do just keep your eye on this horse in front. This is Beauty Rush, a little way off for a return, but I Victory first. He seemed to completely go off the ball last season.
Yeah, he did. He was over racing when he was stepping out early in the year and really wasn't himself. And he's had a very long break. But I think the indications from this trial were that he might have come back okay. He wasn't given much to do there, but he was comfortable enough, and I'm sure we'll see him trial at least once more before he races. Yeah,
that was Blake Shin, the sale, having a quiet trial. But yeah, keep an eye on Beauty Rush. Tin Hat was his name when he raced in Australia for James Cummins. He looks very nice indeed. Just back to Beat the Clock momentarily. He did seem to dominate the sprinting ranks towards the end of the season. He was definitely the one to beat.
Yeah, and part of that was that we had no Hot King Prawn, we had no I Victory. Yeah. He was the next guy in line, but he always promised to be the best horse, best sprinting horse in Hong Kong. The previous season, although he didn't win a Group 1, I really thought that he had his hoof on the till as far as being the best. But his racing style the previous season had let him down a bit getting back in the field. And I think one of the big changes to him last season was that Sires and Morera were able to either get him into races where he was able to lay up closer, or the horse himself was able to lay up closer. But it makes a very big difference in those major races when you're not giving away 3 and 4 lengths.
Certainly does, yeah. Looking forward to seeing them return. Of course, Hot King Prawn last season did the National Day Cup and Premier Bowl double. See if he can do the same again. All right, they're away off their return, but now we can look forward to Sunday's action with the preview. All right, this is race number 9 on the programme. There are 2 feature races to come up, races 5 and 7. We're looking at the 9th event, though. This is a Class 2 contest headed by California Whip. Alfie Chan will take £10 off his back. Styling City, he's had a run this year. Finished behind Regency Legend, or this season, I should say. Raging Storm is a 4-time course and distance winner. Water Diviner returns. Lucky Hero is a 2-time winner over this trip last season as well. Fat Turtle, he showed some winning form at Happy Valley, but finished off last season strongly. Handsome Bobo rolled forward off the inside gate, and Team Spirit could have some extra tempo as well. He's come up with barrier 12, makes it a little bit trickier for him, but it does mean we're probably guaranteed quite a solid tempo through the early stages, Alan. We can have a look at a few of these in action, though, and starting off, we are back at the trials here, and Raging Storm.
Yeah, and he's opposed to some horses. He's got a heck of a lot of class on here, but this is his 2nd trial. Now, he missed a few months of last season, came back towards the end. He had 3 runs in June and the beginning of July, and I think the fact that he's had these 2 trials, he's travelled strongly in both of them, and I think he's going to be very forward for this first up run, even though it is his first for the season.
Yeah, he does look strong, but as you said, he's got a fair bit. I think he's got about 30 points on that horse there, Harbour Century, who's run second. But indications are strong as far as he's concerned. This is some form from last season. Racing Fighter wins the race. The grey here, the big red blinkers. It was a super run, though, from California Whip, because he covered some ground, fought very bravely to the line. The other horses to keep an eye on, Lucky Hero stays on quite strongly. Raging Storm is out wide here. And the 2 horses that were on speed in Water Diviner and Team Spirits sort of pay the price a little bit late.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of keys to this race that are really informative for Sundays, and that is that this was a very slow pace. So these horses up here had the advantage. Raging Storm back in the field, they only walked for half the race, then dashed home. So the ones up the front had all the pluses. I think on Sunday it's going to be a little bit differently run, and these horses, which had the advantage in this race and beat Raging Storm reasonably handily, I think it'll get all turned around on Sunday. There looks more pressure in the race.
That horse flying down the outside as well in the orange jacket came out and won a Group 3 on his next start, Flying Thunder.
Yes, and he's another one. He's got a big finish. Raging Storm is a finisher, and I think we'll get more tempo in the race on the weekend.
All right, Styling City has been back in action. This was on the opening day, in actual fact, in the Chief Executive Cup. Regency Legends was a bit too good, as it turned out, for all of them, but he does have the advantage now of having that run under his belt. And
once again, this was a very slowly run race. In fact, to a large extent, I think this isn't a great guide to when these horses meet again. It was only really a half-mile race. He was disappointing that day, Styling City, but he is back to a Class 2, which I think is more his level. I think we'll see an improved run from him, and as you say, he's had the start, whereas quite a few in this race haven't.
All right, one more to take a check on, and this is from last season as well. It's Fat Turtle. Now, he bumped into a good one in Yi Chong Baby, who has been beaten this season when he returned last weekend. But what of him do you think, fresh up?
Yeah, I think he's a little bit outpointed in the class that he's in. I think really he's on his mark. The winner here beat him pretty easily. He had excuses the other day. He was blood and trachea after his defeat on the weekend. I'd be forgiving of him. But Fat Turtle came here relatively highly rated. I think having won early, he's got up to a rating where he might find it a little bit tough to win again quickly. And I think this is a pretty decent field that he meets on Sunday.
He had the rest of them beaten. That was Tornado Twist further back, who's probably quite a nice yardstick himself. But those are some of the clues as far as the race is concerned. The stats around this race, and in particular Joe Moreira and John Size. Now, we're talking overall, obviously, at this stage, but as a duo, they're formidable. Oh, that's a fantastic strike rate. Anything over 20% to do with anything in Hong Kong racing is massive. And as you can see, 50% virtually first 3. That's pretty amazing too. It is. All right, so who is the tip then, Alan, in the 9th? Well, the tip from me is Raging Storm. As I said, he looks to have come back well. He's got residual fitness and his trial was terrific. And I think it's going to be a different style of race than the one that we saw on the video earlier where he was well beaten. I think it'll be more speed on and he'll get over the top of them. All right, I think it's a very competitive race. Like Handsome Bobo, if he can get away off the inside gate, he might give them something to chase, but there's going to be a lot of pace in the race. Earlier on in the programme, race number 5 is one of the trophy races, the Farkay Cup. I quite like Solomon's Bay returning here for Frankie Law. I liked him a couple of times last year, didn't get any luck with the draw, covered some ground and did it pretty tough. But Zach Purton gets on board, so I don't think we'll get quite the price we might have done because he was going around at a big price. But a listed winner in the UK, I don't think Solomon's Bay is too far away. As far as the diary is concerned, looking forward, we race on Sunday, of course. The other feature race is the Chinese Recreation Club Challenge Cup. Back to Happy Valley, of course, kicked off Happy Valley on Wednesday night. A couple of dates for your diary further down the road. National Day Cup, Celebration Cup. Should see the return, Alan, of Beauty Generation in that as well. So very exciting to see the the biggest of the big return.
It's always a big day, National Day. We start to see the good horses back. It feels like we're back in the swing.
Yeah, it's talking back in the swing as well. We had Happy Valley on Wednesday night. That really felt like big crowd on courses. There always is. The weather's been fantastic. Blake Shin got his first winner, and he was pretty emotional about the whole thing too.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a fairly lengthy process for him getting into Hong Kong. He's applied and missed out before, but it's always been an ambition, and he's had a frustrating start with 5 seconds at his first 2 meetings. So it was good to see him get that one out of the way. I'm sure there'll be many more, and I think a couple of years down the track, he's going to be competing for titles. Yeah,
all right. Well, many thanks for your help today on the show, and good luck for the weekend as well.
Cheers.
But that is the show. Thanks for watching. We're going to leave you this week with the 2003 Hong Kong Derby and Gerard Mosse in elegant fashion, the Flying Filly storming home to win for David Hayes. Hopefully we can count on your company again on Sunday. We'll bring all the action from Hong Kong direct to you.
At the 1,000-metre mark, elegant fashion in the middle, 4 off the leaders. Bowman's Crossing is on the inside of it. Himalaya outside the pair, 3 deep. Next, Jazz Beat Gift is getting closer, but he has to cover ground. Back to the inside is Helene Momentum. He's back at the tail as they run the circle, and also back there with him Fantasy on the corner. And the front runner, Self-Lit from Joyful Spirit, Golden Years behind the leader. Super Blitz wider, River Dancer comes into it at the 500. He's very wide though from Equator Kid, Himalaya behind it. Elegant Fashion between them. Bowman's Crossing has got to the outside, but he's asked to sprint. Frankie's coming through the inside on Helene Momentum, 5 off the leaders. Beverly Green travels well, held up. Well in the straight, Self-Lit rallied well. Elegant Fashion, Himalaya come on. Bowman's Crossing switches out for 3 off the leaders. Self-Lit in front, the mare winds up. Elegant Fashion goes to the lead. It's historical. The filly runs away. Elegant Fashion goes to Self-Lit, draws a length on her. Out wide of Beverly Green staying on, but Mosse wins with the filly Elegant Fashion by nearly a length.